Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said now is probably the best and maybe the last opportunity to secure a ceasefire and hostage release deal in Gaza.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary.
Mr. Blinken made his comments during a meeting with Israeli President Isaac Herzog on Monday during his 9th trip to the region since the war began in October. The US has expressed optimism about a deal since talks resumed in Doha last week, but Hamas says suggestions of progress are an illusion, with differences said to include whether Israeli troops will be required to withdraw fully from Gaza, as Hamas insists.
Probably the best, maybe the last opportunity to get the hostages home, to get a ceasefire, and to put everyone on a better path to enduring peace and security. I'm here as part of an intensive diplomatic effort on President Biden's instructions to try to get this agreement to the line and ultimately over the line. It is time for it to get done. It's also time to make sure that no one takes any steps that could derail this process.
Ukraine says it has destroyed a second strategic bridge in a week as it continues its incursion into Russia's Kursk region. The Ukrainian military on Sunday released aerial footage of the strike on the bridge, reported to be over the same river in Zvano. Hours later, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said for the first time that the aims of the military incursion into Kursk included the creation of a buffer zone to stop Russian attacks. Ukraine is nearly 2 weeks into its biggest attack on Russian territory since Moscow launched its invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Italian media have reported that a body has been recovered as 6 people were still missing after a luxury yacht was struck by a whirlwind and sank off the coast of the Sicilian capital Palermo. One body has been recovered so far, with Fire Brigade and Coast Guard continuing to search for 6 missing people. The 56-metre-long luxury sailboat, which was British registered, had 22 people on board at the time of the storm. 15 people have been rescued.
And we found this life raft drifting.
But anything inside?
With 15 people inside.
15 people
15 people inside. 4 people injured, 3 heavy injured.
Yeah.
And we brought them to our ship, and then we communicated with the Coast Guard, and after some time the Coast Guard came, and later they picked the injured people, and when we 2 hours later they picked up the other people.
Opposition supporters have gathered across Venezuela to protest against Nicolas Maduro's disputed victory in last month's presidential election. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado joined thousands of protesters in the capital Caracas and urged them not to be afraid. Ms. Machado, who had been in hiding after being accused of insurrection, said there was nothing above the voice of the people and that the people had spoken. Police and the army were deployed in force as supporters of Mr. Maduro also held a demonstration. Kamala Harris has arrived in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention, where she will be formally confirmed as the party's presidential candidate. She flew into O'Hare Airport on Air Force Two after a day of campaigning in the swing state of Pennsylvania with her running mate Tim Walz.
You know, they do polls and this stuff, and I'm at like 93%.
Her Republican rival Donald Trump held a rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday. Ms. Harris is expected to join President Biden on stage when he addresses the convention later on Monday evening. Pennsylvania has been a crucial battleground in recent presidential races, with Donald Trump winning the state in 2016 and Joe Biden in 2020. And a powerful earthquake has triggered a volcanic eruption in the Kamchatka Peninsula. The 7-magnitude quake caused the area surrounding the Shiveluch volcano on the far eastern coast of Russia to be covered in a layer of ash following the eruption. There were no reports of damage or injuries in the immediate aftermath of the quake. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.